This year I made $23,500 trading with FTMO, and I lost it all within months. I'm making this video because I want to share my experience and my real, authentic experience, so that hopefully anyone who watches this in similar positions can understand really what it takes and can hear my mistakes and hopefully not make the same. As I said, I made $23,500 within the space of 2 months at the start of this year, and quite frankly I was like on top of the moon. I was very confident, I was very happy with how things were going, and particularly going full-time this year. I got off to the year with a great start and things were looking up. Unfortunately, I was not in the right mindset to really handle that money and keep that money and be consistent within my trading. I do think I was overconfident, my ego was through the roof, and making someone's yearly salary within the space of 2 months from clicking some buttons on my laptop, I think experiencing that for the first time, naturally my ego was through the roof. And yeah, at the time I was very, very confident, probably too confident, and I just started to chase that dopamine rush of making that much money in that space of time, that I found myself acting from emotions and not really following my plan and my rules, and I had no discipline, and I was just chasing and forcing that amount of money that I'd made. And unfortunately, as the months were going on, since probably March this year, I just spiraled down a never-ending hill that I'm only now really trying to rebuild. And I think it wasn't really one big mistake that made me lose the money I had made, or it wasn't one big trade that I lost all the money that I'd made. It was more just these smaller mistakes that were building and compounding, and as these mistakes were building and compounding, I was building those bad habits within trading, which ultimately put me in the mindset of just striving and forcing and not really focusing on the now and the present and the processes of trading properly. And quite honestly, it was very brutal, that experience this year. It's been pretty brutal for me, having to handle all of this on my own, going through all of these experiences on my own, and only now am I really trying to just be honest with myself and rebuild with the right processes, because I've had this glimpse of success and what I can do and what trading can do for me and my life. And I think experiencing that glimpse of success, although it's very positive in the sense of knowing what I can do, it's also it also can carry quite a negative thing to kind of get too excited and get too overwhelmed with what I can do. And as I was saying, these small mistakes and these bad habits were building up over and over and over and over, and I never really took a moment to just step back and just understand, like, okay, I actually need to step back and I need to just be more disciplined, focused on my process instead of just trying to chase those results again. And I think for anyone listening, it's a real example of the difference between chasing profits and results in trading compared to building good habits and building satisfaction from just following your processes and following your rules. Because chasing money, chasing results, chasing profit in trading, you may have some short-term success, but in the end, in the long run, you're just gonna be, it's gonna be really tough, and it's gonna be a battle, and there's no real longevity within it. But if you consistently focus on just trying to do the right thing in the moment, every day showing up and following your rules, your system, your model, and being disciplined enough to do that, it may not feel like you're getting any success in the short term, but in the long term you're actually getting where you want to be. Because now I'm having to, all those mistakes earlier on this year where I was just chasing profit, chasing money, and not focusing on my result, on my process, I'm now having to catch up with all of those mistakes. And right now I'm having to rebuild my life, and I'm having to rebuild everything and to keep this dream alive of trading success and going full time and living the life that I want to live. I'm having to rebuild that now because of my past mistakes. So you always have to think in the mindset of just longevity and not focusing on every single day, but focusing on like weeks, months and years. And right now I'm having to rebuild. Well, the way that I'm rebuilding myself and my life is, number one, cutting out all my vices and my addictions. I think that's played a huge part in the failures I've had this year, not being able to be consistent, and ultimately a part of why I've lost that money as well is because I haven't been disciplined outside of my life. Outside of trading in my life, I haven't been disciplined at all. I used to smoke weed almost every day with tobacco, so I was smoking tobacco as well, so addicted to nicotine, weed, social media, and I'm completely clean now. It's been 3 weeks, almost a month, which has been really great. And I'm just first dealing with that, so cutting out all vices, all addictions, deciding to be clean, to have a clean mind, and choosing to be sober, and choosing to just be disciplined outside of my life, outside of trading in my life, to be disciplined, no addictions, no vices, just focusing on doing things that are good for me and exercising more, having real structure in my day, getting up, doing things. I've started a new job, so I'm working 35 hours a week in a supermarket, which isn't glamorous, but it's only a temporary tool to help me get to where I want to be next year and get me in a better position financially and mentally. And so yeah, I'm working 35 hours a week in the supermarket in a different country, in a different language, which comes with its difficulties, but I'm not looking at it as a shitty job, or I'm just trying to look at it with the eyes of and the lens of just kind of, this is a tool that is going to help me. It's not permanent, it's only temporary, and actually it's helping me to build structure in my day. It's helping me to be disciplined, to show up at the right time, to do the right thing. And you know, all of these little things compound into building the successful trader that I know I can be. So it is really helping, and I'm just looking at it like that, you know, and every waking hour outside of my job, I'm working on myself. So I'm working on, you know, being disciplined, being sober, and eating right, and exercising, and focusing on my trading, you know, turning up at the right sessions, and focusing on the processes, and you know, not really caring about making any money right now in trading, but more so caring about, you know, following my process, following my rules, following my model, and being disciplined. And so that, accompanied with showing up at this job and, you know, being there at the right time, doing the right thing, working as hard as I can, I know that this is going to help me. I know that I'm going to make this work. And, you know, I think it's very important to share this, because people might be in the same position where they're working a shitty job and they want to escape it, and they want to make trading work, or any sort of online business that they're working towards work, but currently they're working this shitty job. And it all just is in the mind. You have to change the way that you look at your situation and realize that it's not permanent, and you're just using it as a tool to escape that job, you know. So if you are in the same position, I think the only thing you can do is just be positive and have a positive mind, and really look at this as like, you know, we're actually in a blessed position to be able to do that, and work on yourself, and be tired in the pursuit of working on yourself. I think that's, you know, that's a privilege, really. And I think it's very easy to get very negative and get down in the dumps, and, you know, kind of look at your life and be like, oh, you know, working my 9 to 5, and, you know, this is shit, and blah blah blah. But you can change that, and you can change, you know, how you perceive your reality and your situation, and it's not permanent. So just keep working, keep grinding, keep doing the right thing, stay disciplined, and what you want will come, and, you know, in due time that will come. So, you know, I think hopefully you guys can take something away from this video, something positive away from this video, and hopefully you've learned that, you know, no matter how many times you fail, you can still pick yourself up, and you can still do the right thing. No matter what it takes, you can do it. And even if you feel like you've hit rock bottom, you know, the only way is up. And that's what I'm gonna do. I'm documenting my journey, and, you know, I'm gonna look back on this video in like 6 months' time and be like, wow, I'm happy and super grateful I went through that time, and I stuck to the plan, and I remained disciplined, because it's all gonna be worth it in the end. And you know, it's a beautiful struggle of pursuing success in any realm. So keep your head up, keep focused, have that tunnel vision, and just keep working and stay disciplined. But yeah, if you want to stick around, subscribe and follow the journey.